Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanasari Jamuna Tira Vanasari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanasari Jamuna Tira Vanasari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare Bol. Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare Bolo, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Jaya Radha, Madhava Radha, Madhava Radhe, Radha, Madhava. Jaya Radha, Madhava Radha, Madhava Radhe. Jaya Radha, Madan Mohan Radha, Madan Mohan Radhe, Radha, Madan Mohan Radha. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Jai Jai Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Gaura Pimanandi. Jayam Vishnupada Paramahamsa. Pri Vrajagacharya Stotra Satta Sri Simad, His Divine Grace. Shiraboy Charanaravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami. Srila Prabhupada ki. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki. ISKCON DBT Founder Charyas Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki. Namacharya Sri Haridas Thakur ki. Samavata Bhakta Vrinda ki. Harinam Sankirtan ki. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki. Jaini Thai Gauru Pimanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru, to Sri Gauranga. All glories to Sri Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna. We are very fortunate to have amongst us His Holiness Bhakti Raghava Swami Maharaj. Maharaj was born to French Canadian. That's it. Maharaj was born to French Canadian Roman Catholic parents in the province of Ontario. Maharaj spent 7 years of his undergraduate studies in a seminary before completing his Bachelor of Arts degree at the University of Ottawa in 1968. He majored in philosophy and social psychology. After serving as social worker and counselor from 1968 to 1971, he joined the Hare Krishna movement in 1974 and was initiated by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada in the same year as Raghava Pandit Das. Maharaj later, from 1974 to 76, he served at ISKCON Ottawa Temple. From 1976 to 1992, Maharaj lived in India, pioneering the New Bhakta program and the Namahatta village preaching program from Sridham Mayapur, and also serving in Bhaktivedanta Youth Services, BYS, from ISKCON Calcutta. He accepted the order of sannyas on Gaur Purnima in 1985. From 1993 to 2000, he served as co-GBC for ISKCON Canada and as the temple president for ISKCON Montreal. From the year 2001 to 2004, Maharaj was based in Indonesia, where he helped to develop and oversee 6 rural community projects in addition to youth hostels. In the year 2004, Maharaj completed his master's degree in education cum laude from the State University of Yogyakarta, writing his thesis entitled A Comparative Study of Gurukul and Pondak Pesantren, a case study of 3 Gurukulas in India and 3 in Indonesia. Maharaj has concentrated his preaching mostly in Asian countries such as India, Indonesia and Cambodia. He travels extensively and holds seminars promoting the Varnashram mission. Maharaj also has authored several books such as Make Vrindavan Village and Varnashram Education. So these books are available at the table. Those devotees who are interested can take at the end of the class and get it signed from Maharaj. So we are very fortunate.
Hare Krishna. So, cow production is really heart of Maharaj. You must have seen in all his mails, Surabhi, cow production. And also, probably some of you may not be aware, way back in 95, even prior to that, Maharaj, while traveling, he came to Pune. He met one of the boys and they told him, why don't you preach in the medical college? There was one boy called Vanamali Prabhu in those days, 93, 94. So when I came to Pune, that was the boy in the temple who was bringing some youths in the early days. And then I got connected to Secunderabad temple from where Maharaj had started BYS, Bhakti Vedanta Youth Services. So they used to bring out magazines in those days. And I remember one magazine where there was an India picture and multiple centers of BYS in India. There's a black color cover. So one of Maharaj's disciples, one boy in those days, his name was Anil. He became Advaita, I don't remember the full name. So he visited Pune and he told me that so many youths are thronging Pune temple. Why don't you start something like a BYS? So we actually started as a BYS way back in 95. So Maharaj, wherever he travels, he would inspire the youths to take up youth preaching. And also, recently we had the good fortune of hosting Maharaj in Pune farm. We have a Rajgad, ISKCON Rajgad farm, where we have 25 acres land we have. In fact, Maharaj stayed there for a month. And then he went to inside the village and met the farmers, inspired them about cow production and organic farming and living a very simple life. So Maharaj was doing a research thesis. I think he was visiting 108 farms, Maharaj, is it? 108.
108.
Yeah, 108 farms. And he was making a research thesis. So one of those was our Pune destination also. Maharaj came. So, and last time I purchased some books from Maharaj, I was reading those books. Recently when I saw your Gurukul research, it was very helpful in training our brahmacharis also. You had mentioned about what happens in first year and 4-5 years later and 10 years later in the Gurukulas. So he has presented many valuable things about the Varnashrama. Although Prabhupada said 50% of his work is remaining, Maharaj has taken that as his life and soul, and not only the Hebrew farm and Indonesia farm and many other places, Maharaj is the main inspiration. It's a good fortune. Maharaj comes to Hyderabad and he is with us here today. So let us thank Maharaj and also chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra and welcome him to Shri Radha Madan Mohan Temple. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Jai Sri Prabhupada ki. Thank you very much. Radha Shyam Prabhu ki. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chaksuranmilitam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaisnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tvam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakanvitam Sischa Hare Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hare Priye Vanchakalpa Tarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhya cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narotamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, let us first offer respectful obeisances unto Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, unto Narayana Rishi, the supremmost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayeshabhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Utamashloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. By regularly hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam and by rendering a service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome within the heart becomes destroyed practically to nil, and loving devotional service unto the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, becomes established as an irrevocable fact. Idam Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahma Samhitam Utamashloka Charitam Chakara Bhagavan Rishi Nishreyasaya Lokasya Dhanyam Swasyayanam Mahat. This Srimad Bhagavatam, known as the Grantaraj, the king of all Vedic literatures, is the literary incarnation of God. It is compiled by the incarnation of God as Srila Vyasadeva. It is meant for the ultimate good of all people. It is all successful, all blissful, and all perfect. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Sarabhyaya Namaha. Om Sarabhyaya Namaha. Om Sarabhyaya Namaha. Mukham karoti vasalam pangum langayate girim yat kripa tamaham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam. Yat kripa tamaham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam. Hare Krishna. So we'd like to welcome everyone to the morning Srimad Bhagavatam class, which is meant to be one of our most important activities of the day after Mangalarati. Very nice to see the what we call blow up of the Bhagavatam in the back, because naturally, I think all over the world, wherever we have temples, and possibly in a very big way, bigger way here, I believe in India, this Bhadra Purnima has been picking up some speed and has become quite nicely celebrated. Yesterday, for example, at the Bhakti Kutir that you were instrumental in establishing, Hyderabad temple, where Sripati Prabhu is staying, they distributed 17 sets of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Before sitting on the Vyasasana to give a short lecture yesterday, I was told that there were 12 sets of Bhagavatam to be distributed, and by the end of the program there were 17. So people get inspired naturally when they hear the glories of the Srimad Bhagavatam, and maybe we can speak a little bit on that. But first, let us go to our verse, which is, I believe, on the board. So we are reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 25, Text 29. Correct? 29? Yeah. Nasam varoru anyatama bhuvi sprik purim imam vira varena sakam arhasi alankartum adabhra karmana lokam param srir eva jagya humsa na samvaror vanyatama bhuvi sprik purim imam viravarena sakam arhasya lankartum adabra karmana lokam param srir iva jagnapumsa na samvaror vanyatama bhuvi sprik purim imam viravarena sakam arhasya lankartum adabra karmana lokam param srir iva jagnapumsa na samvaror vanyatama bhuvi sprik purim imam viravarena sakam arhasya lankartum adabra karmana lokam param srir iva jagnapumsa. One more. Na, not, some of these, varoru, O most fortunate one, Anyatama, anyone, Bhuvi Sprik, touching the ground, Purim, city, Imam, this, Viravarena, the great hero, Sakam, along with, Arhasi, you deserve, Alankartum, to decorate, Adabhra, glorious, Karmana, whose activities, Lokam, world, Param, transcendental, Srihi, the goddess of fortune, Eva, like, Jagna Pumsa, with the enjoyer of all Jagnas. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. O greatly fortunate one, it appears that you are none of the women I have mentioned because I see that your feet are touching the ground. But if you are some woman of this planet, you can, like the goddess of fortune, who, accompanied by Lord Vishnu, increases the beauty of the Vaikuntha planets, also increase the beauty of this city by associating with me. You should understand that I am a great hero and a very powerful king on this planet. Kindly repeat after me. O great fortunate one. O greatly fortunate one. It appears that you are none of the women I have mentioned because I see that your feet are touching the ground. But if you are some woman of this planet, you can, like the goddess of fortune, who, accompanied by Lord Vishnu, increases the beauty of the Vaikuntha planets, also increase the beauty of this city by associating with me. You should understand that I am a great hero and a very powerful king on this planet. Report. There is a difference between the maniac mentality and devotional mentality. Devotees know perfectly well that the goddess of fortune, who is the constant companion of Vishnu or Narayana, cannot be enjoyed by a living entity. This higher sense of understanding is called Krishna consciousness. Nonetheless, everyone wants to become happy by imitating the prosperity of Narayana. In this verse, Puranjana states that the girl appears to be an ordinary woman. However, since he is attracted by her, he requests that she become as happy as a goddess of fortune by associating with him. Thus, he introduces himself as a great king with great influence, so that she might accept him as her husband and be as happy as the goddess of fortune. To desire to enjoy this material world as a subordinate of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is godly. The demons, however, want to enjoy this material world without considering the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is the difference between a demon and a demigod. The word bhuvi strik mentioned in this verse is very significant. When the demigods sometimes come to this planet, they do not touch the ground. Puranjana could understand that this girl did not belong to the transcendental world or the higher planetary system because her feet were touching the ground. Since every woman in this world wants her husband to be very influential, rich, and powerful, Puranjana, to seduce the girl, introduced himself as such a personality. In the material world, whether one be a man or a woman, one wants to enjoy. A man wants to enjoy a beautiful woman, and a woman wants to enjoy a powerful, opulent man. Every living entity who possesses such material desires is called Purusha, an enjoyer. Superficially, it appears that the woman is the enjoyed and the man is the enjoyer. But internally, everyone is an enjoyer. Consequently, everything in this material world is called Maya. So, one time Srila Prabhupada was asked by a reporter, as he often would be asked, different questions, sometimes reasonable questions, sometimes unreasonable questions. Whether it was whatever kind of question Srila Prabhupada would be asked, he always provided the perfect answer. So this time, one reporter, he asked Prabhupada, what is the purpose of life? Very good question. What is the goal of life? What is the purpose of life? And on that particular occasion, Srila Prabhupada answered very briefly, and in relation to our purport today, Prabhupada said, the purpose of life is to enjoy. Is to enjoy. Because by nature, every living entity is meant to enjoy. That is the nature. The nature of the living entity actually is to be happy, is to love and to be loved. But depending on the mentality of the living entity, majority of people in the material world, they want to enjoy because it's our nature. But they want to enjoy separately from Krishna. They want to falsely position themselves as independent enjoyers, as Purusha. Our position actually is Prakriti. Two types of Prakriti are described in the Bhagavad Gita, the Para-Prakriti and Apara-Prakriti. Apara-Prakriti, material nature. Material nature is created by Krishna, therefore dependent on Krishna. The Para-Prakriti, living entity, also created by Krishna, therefore dependent. The feature of the material nature, although inert, and the feature of the living entity, the jiva, although conscious, is the same. Dependency. We are dependent. We are falsely, at times, most of the time actually, until we come to Krishna consciousness, we are falsely endeavoring to enjoy separately. Why? Because this tendency, this desire is the natural quality actually of the soul. Um, soul is meant to be happy. Soul is actually meant to be enjoyed by Krishna. And Prabhupada refers to this higher state of consciousness, which is only possible to actually develop in the human form of life. And it is only possible to develop in the human form of life if one is fortunate to come in contact with the Srimad Bhagavatam. I remember the first time I came in contact with the Srimad Bhagavatam. It was the very first day I stepped into a Hare Krishna temple, which is practically to the month 50 years ago, 1973. Srimad Bhagavatam, I'm sure for many of you as well, but for me especially, coming from a non-Vedic background, being totally, outside of India, majority of countries and majority of people have been totally disconnected with the Vedic culture. So to me it was a big revelation. And of course it continues to be, especially in the last few years with this very wonderful initiative taken by His Grace Vaisheshika Prabhu, yes. And more and more of our devotees, as it should be, are increasing gradually their understanding of how important, how absolutely essential is the presence of the Srimad Bhagavatam in the lives of people, and how the more people come in contact with this knowledge of Krishna consciousness, this is actually the way in which the whole world can become transformed. This is the way in which our acharyas and Shastra also are predicting that in this age of Kali, there will be a Satya Yuga, golden era. We always need to keep that in mind, actually, that this golden era, which is predicted to become manifest in Kali Yuga for a 10,000-year period, began with the advent of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And I don't know about all of you, but maybe it happens a bit more when one travels, and those who are sannyasis, their foremost business or responsibility is to travel, and to preach. But I'm sure many other devotees also are getting more and more a glimpse of how this transformation is ongoing under our very eyes. We've heard how the mission of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is so attractive that demigods in the not in the spiritual world, in the heavenly planets, Swarga Loka, they are waiting in line to be born in the movement of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which is, as Prabhupada explained, the movement of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu especially, has incarnated in the movement that he has established, the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. And we can actually see, as I travel around to different places, and I see especially amongst some of the younger generation, I'm talking about young children, amazing symptoms of very rare souls. And Srila Prabhupada was envisioning in this way, I mean, way back in the early 70s, when devotees would be performing, Guru Puja, and all of the devotees, all the mothers with their children at that time, they would be holding their babies or infants, and Prabhupada after the kirtan would be handing out cookies. I'm sure you've seen pictures of that. Prabhupada could see at that time, and it's becoming more and more a reality, and he would explain how and remind his first disciples who were giving that opportunity to their children to be born in Vaishnava families. In one purport in the Bhagavatam, I was reading some time back, Prabhupada mentions how there are two things which can practically guarantee one to go back home, back to Godhead. If one is fortunate to have these two things in one's life, he's on his way back home, back to Godhead. One of them, one of them is to be born in a Vaishnava family, which automatically means you'll get the holy name. Yeah. One is to be born in a Vaishnava family, and the second is to have the good fortune of coming in contact with a bona fide spiritual master. And Srila Prabhupada was sometimes mentioning how his Guru Maharaj was born in a Vaishnava family. And of course, and Prabhupada would say, I also had that, that great fortune of being born. So the point being, as Krishna consciousness expands all over the world through such initiatives as Badr campaign, especially emphasizing how so important is the Srimad Bhagavatam, because actually it's only the Srimad Bhagavatam that is giving us this science of bhakti, this science of devotion, isn't it? No other literature brings us to that level of full transcendence. So actually when Prabhupada wrote this essay on Gita Nagari, I bring this up occasionally because Gita Nagari is still very unknown, very much. I'll ask a question. How many of you who are present here know about this essay called Gita Nagari? Raise your hands. Can you see how many hands are up? Look, not many. It's a very important essay written by Srila Prabhupada way back in 1957, whereby Srila Prabhupada underlines and stresses this whole aspect of, Krishna consciousness, mentioning how this can more easily, more ideally come about within communities of devotees. Therefore, the importance of actually establishing communities. And in that essay, the point I wanted to make was that Prabhupada was not encouraging, actually he was not encouraging that one take sannyas. It's interesting. He was encouraging people to take to householder life. Now beware, brahmacharis. I mean, the injunction is still there in the Shastra that if one can remain a brahmachari, definitely he should remain brahmachari. But it's interesting, in that essay on Gita Nagari, Prabhupada was telling, we will encourage people especially to become responsible householders so that they can beget and bring into the world Krishna conscious, special souls. We are in extreme need. There's an urgency to bring in the world, to create that situation where living entities of a special, I would say, nature can take up this mission of Krishna consciousness and spread the teachings of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And the essence of that, of course, is found in the pages of the Srimad Bhagavatam. So all of us actually have this great opportunity. We somehow, by some inconceivable great fortune, we are here. We are part of this movement that was established by our founder, Acharya Srila Prabhupada. And of course, whenever I come to the Hyderabad temple, it brings, of course, it brings memories. I was not part of the early days, but I was rather in Mayapur side. But after some years when I came here, I could understand why Srila Prabhupada came many times actually to Hyderabad. And although initially Prabhupada was not thinking of having a temple here, by the strong desire of members, people, devotees actually from Hyderabad, we have this very, very unique and wonderful temple of deities which are very, very special. Sri Sri Gaurnitai, Sri Sri Radha Madana Mohan, and Lord Chaitanya, Lord Jagannath Baladev and Subhadra. So Srila Prabhupada's mission is, we should know, the most important mission on the planet today. And there is a goal, I think within the next maybe 2 years, to distribute, you know what the target is? Yeah, 1 crore. Is it? Oh, all over the world, okay. Now, I think this year 55,000 sets of Bhagavatam was the goal. And that was Bhagavad Gita. Okay. A very extraordinary number of books. I mean, this is one of the most important activities of the Krishna consciousness movement from the very beginning, as we know. Srila Prabhupada was emphasizing this distribution of transcendental literatures, and especially the Srimad Bhagavatam, because our whole Krishna conscious culture and teachings, all of the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita are already contained as well in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So we should know that actually the whole world is waiting for this Srimad Bhagavatam. The whole world is waiting for this message of Krishna consciousness. And we are having that opportunity to be part of this mission, so we should take full advantage. And I very much congratulate our devotees here in ISKCON Hyderabad, who are in various ways introducing projects and activities so that more and more people. I was amazed yesterday actually, because every Saturday, and I'm sure there are similar activities in other parts of Hyderabad, but you know, every Saturday they have like 70, 80 people coming together and like really enthusiastic, you know, very enthusiastically performing Harinam Sankirtan, and afterwards attending a class on either Bhagavad Gita. Yesterday was, of course, on the Srimad Bhagavatam. So all of us, whether we are full-time, you know, we need to expand our understanding of what it means to be a full-time devotee. Full-time devotees are not only those living in the temple. A full-time devotee is someone who is fully surrendered, fully engaged actually, and fully committed to the mission of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to the mission given to us by Srila Prabhupada. So that means that actually no one is barred from becoming a full-time devotee. We can be a full-time devotee, and actually we should, the goal of life actually is to become fully committed, to be fully surrendered. And we can do this wherever we may be in any ashram, isn't it? we have wonderful examples during the past times of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He had so many, majority of his devotees and associates actually were householders. So there's no bar for anyone to fully take up Krishna consciousness, and the mission of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is becoming even more and more relevant as people are in need of this knowledge that we are finding every day when we open the pages of the Srimad Bhagavatam. So I want to thank the devotees very much for keeping things very lively and introducing different preaching programs and attracting more and more people to the fold of Krishna consciousness. I was just finishing. I'll just maybe end on this point. Krishna was very kind to allow me for the last 3 months actually to travel, promoting a theme which is something I've been promoting, of course, for quite some time, that I find is extremely important. The theme was actually make Vrindavan villages. We should know that one of the objectives, and Prabhupada explains in this way, one of the purposes of the Krishna consciousness movement is to bring about a complete overhaul within society and to revert to the standard social system given by Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita of Varna and Asrama. So this is a very big subject matter, and in the different countries and different communities where I had the opportunity to speak on the subject matter, there was very positive, favorable response. And actually every single temple, I'll close maybe on this point here, every single temple, and this is important for those who are managing our temples, leaders in our temples, need to keep in mind that Srila Prabhupada expected and wanted as, I would say, the beginning of this major transformation which is meant to take place within every country, within the world. Every single temple is meant to have, to actually establish a rural community where we have our own cows actually serving the deities, where we have our own food which is grown naturally, organically, therefore wholesome and pure food which is offered to the Lord. These discussions have been ongoing actually amongst our leaders within the society, and even some resolutions were taken to that effect. I just want to remind everyone that this remains extremely critical and very important. And the more we can actually help to manifest this, then we will come closer to helping to realize and manifest actually the mission that Srila Prabhupada has given to all of us. We need our city temples, they need to connect with our villages. We should not in any way minimize, rather the opposite. We should understand how villages, especially I would say in India, are extremely important because our Vedic culture is especially to be found in villages. And this will be a great error on our part if we don't make that connection and actually have devotees from our cities on a regular basis connecting with our villages. I had the good fortune actually of personally visiting at least 108 villages in the last few years. People are just hungry. They're just hankering. They're hankering. They're waiting for the devotees. They're waiting. Now in some of the villages, we have introduced and given them actually the whole set of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And we are seeing how in some villages, people on a daily basis are reading for 1 hour, 1.5 hours. And it is, they are telling us, we have it on record also, Sri Ram has been very active in this respect. It is addressing some of the very serious local problems, one of them being alcohol problem in our villages. Of course, it's not only in the villages. So in other words, the Srimad Bhagavatam and this process of devotional service, which begins with the chanting of the holy name, is that process, that knowledge, that consciousness that can bring about complete changes within society. So I am thankful to the devotees here with personalities like Radhishyam Prabhu and others who are working very hard to inspire all of you to take up more and more wholeheartedly the mission of our founder, Acharya Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. If there's time, we can take 1 or 2 questions or comments. Yes.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Maharaj, you said, Srila Prabhupada said 2 most important things to attain a spiritual world is a spiritual family and a spiritual master in our life. And today's purport also, it is ended with Maya. It is because even though we have both in our lives, still because of I feel Maya, it's very difficult to have strong connection with spiritual master and the devotees in the family, not taking very seriously, even though in the devotional family.
Yes. So we have to take things seriously. We have many, more and more, it is increasing actually every day. We have all the children who are born in our devotee families are very very special, and and by Prabhupada's mercy, the opportunity is there to come in contact with the Guru Parampara, to be connected in Guru Parampara. So it is a question for all of us of just taking matters more seriously, isn't it? We can do this in a very simple way by understanding the importance of becoming strong in our sadhana practice. Krishna consciousness begins at Mangalarati, isn't it? If we don't attend Mangalarati, if we don't have a morning program, it will be extremely difficult to become or to maintain Krishna consciousness. So everything is laid out by our acharyas. Everything is there for the taking. We have to take it, isn't it? And if we do that, then Prabhupada explains, it is guaranteed anyone who has begun, who has that great fortune of coming in contact with this knowledge, then that person is guaranteed to become liberated from this material world. It's a question of how quickly we want to attain that that position. If we take the good instructions more to heart, if we follow more strictly the guidelines that are given by our acharyas, if we maintain very close association, then we will not be affected. We will be less affected and come to the point of not being affected by Maya. Yeah. Mike?
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Maharaj, when we are doing some services, like say preaching or adapting a new timetable for us to increase in Krishna consciousness, we face many obstacles. Maybe physical hurt or unsupportive environment or a competitive environment. How to understand such situations, whether we are going right, we should take it as a warning, or is it as a right process to purify us, like that? How to we have to understand this for such environments?
The question is how to understand if we are doing something proper?
Like when we are trying to preach or serve, we will
Yes.
get obstacles.
We face obstacles.
How to
Yes.
understand such obstacles?
How to understand them. As long as we are in the material world, there will be obstacles. The nature of the material world is such, isn't it? The material world is not the is a place of challenges and reverses and difficulties, etc. So becoming Krishna conscious doesn't mean that the obstacles will disappear. Becoming Krishna conscious means that our ability to face those obstacles will increase and we will not regard them, we will not be affected by those obstacles, isn't it? When we take up to Krishna consciousness, it's not that all of our diseases come to an end. It's not that we stop to grow old, and it's not that we're not going to die or leave this body. That is the nature of the material world. But by the purification of our consciousness, our ability, these are the two most important results actually of developing Krishna consciousness, is that we at some point come to completely transcend and not be affected by the modes of material nature, number one. And secondly, we also will no longer be affected by the threefold miseries of life, isn't it? So the different obstacles that are coming, they're connected with this adibautik, adiatmik, adidaivik, isn't it? Challenges that are coming constantly. But as we increase our level of Krishna consciousness through the process of purification, then we will not be disturbed by those things. And as long as we are here in the material world, those obstacles will be there. Either they are there because of our previous, it's like karmic reaction is coming, or Krishna arranges sometimes situations to test his devotee. So Prabhupada explains, as long as we are here in the material world, these challenges, these obstacles, etc., will be there, but our ability, to the extent that we are actually becoming more fixed up in Krishna consciousness, our ability to meet with these challenges will be increased to the point that we will not see them as obstacles. Yeah. Yes, last. Yeah.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Thank you very much for the wonderful class. Maharaj, my question is also related to the first question, which has two main important things for a person to become Krishna consciousness in one's life. So we see that, and it means, Maharaj, can you clarify that? How can we see that actually the people who are not born in Vaishnava families also take up Krishna consciousness seriously and become serious? But I did not properly understand that what you meant maybe. But can you clarify, like we see devotees who take birth in Vaishnava families also little bit appear to be slagging like that. So can you clarify that, how to inspire them to take up Krishna consciousness more, or how is it like that is a fortune for them to take up Krishna?
Your question is, why is it that those who are born in Vaishnava families are fortunate?
My question is that why only that is a prerequisite? Why not that people who are born outside also are taking up Krishna consciousness more? So they already knew the hardships of the material world, then coming to Krishna consciousness, and they're also becoming perfect. So is it also not?
Well, actually, it's because the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is very great. That not only those, the idea is that those who are born, those who are having that good opportunity or great fortune to be born in a Vaishnava family, they have a lot more opportunities, actually, because even from the moment of conception, that living entity, if parents are devotees, they hear the holy name, isn't it? From right from the womb, they are benefited in so many ways. But the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is such that even those who are not born in Vaishnava families, because they are on the planet today, if the devotees of the Lord continue to be compassionate as they should be, because that's the foremost quality of a Vaishnava, then they are also getting the mercy, you know. But so anyone actually on the planet today is extremely fortunate because of the presence of the mission of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And it's a question of, I guess, degree of fortune. It is very special, very unique to be born in a devotee family. And as the movement continues to expand, more and more people, of course, isn't it? As more families become Vaishnava families, they will bring in Krishna conscious children. And as the compassion of the devotees increases more and more, even those not born in devotee families, they will also get the mercy. So Mahaprabhu's movement is such that the mercy is for everyone, whether one is born in a Vaishnava family or not. But we want that people get, ever increasing mercy, and definitely it is something unique and special. That is the point that Prabhupada was making, that if one can be born in a Vaishnava family, means within a spiritual atmosphere, then one's chances of taking to Krishna consciousness are even greater. Yeah. So, thank you all very much.
Hare Krishna.
I think you can ask the question after maybe, okay, because I don't know.
Yes, ma'am.
Time is getting short.
One last question you want to take?
Huh?
One last question.
Okay.
Who is that? Yeah.
Okay, Mike is coming. Mercy is coming.
First of all, thank you, Prabhu. Maharaj ji, how can we connect village people to ISKCON? Most of our centers are in cities only, na?
Yes.
Yeah, how can we connect with the village peoples? Because they doesn't know this
Yes.
kind of faith way. I'm a tribe, that's why I'm asking this question. Thank you so much for this.
Thank you for the question. Thank you for the question. Well, that was my point. That was my point. It's a question of, like everything else, of elevated consciousness. Means that Srila Prabhupada wanted, expected that all of our temples be merciful to everyone, and especially to those who are in villages. So we have a ministry here in India actually called IDVM, ISKCON Daiva Varnashram Ministry. And we had made a recommendation a few years back actually to the leaders here in India that every single temple should have a department, rural development department, with some designated devotees whose duty, whose responsibility is to focus in the villages. Something of that nature will facilitate that there can be more, because ultimately in our cities, and I think you will agree with this, everyone should, we are eating every day and able to offer food because of our villages, right? Food comes from the village. The food comes from the village. But we know that the food today that is produced, not only here in India but all over the world, unfortunately due to malpractices in agriculture for the last century or so, the food is not ideal food. And cows also are not properly cared for or protected. So the whole Vedic culture is actually the whole Vedic economy. Vedic economy is based on Krishi Goraksha Vanijam. The whole Vedic economy is not based on life membership. It's based on Krishi Goraksha Vanijam. And this is very important to understand and to actually act. So it's good you're asking the question, and I was mentioning that a few minutes ago. Wherever I go, I try to encourage our local leaders to actually give importance to reaching out. We call village initiatives is extremely important, and I would say extremely urgent as well. Thank you for the question, and we'll be happy to speak to you later on more on this topic. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Swarna Bhakti Swami Maharaj ki. We are very happy to know Maharaj distributed 18 Bhagavatam sets yesterday at Bhakti Kutir. Maharaj, these Bhakti Kutirs, we have almost 6 of them in Hyderabad. Our actual plan is to gradually start the daily morning program in that locality. Weekly once, a big program of 100 devotees. And then daily morning also we want to see about 40-50 devotees coming together in those Bhakti Kutirs. And eventually it will become like a mini, like a preaching center. And Krishna willing, there may be many temple also eventually. That's the whole idea of Bhakti Kutir. Thank you for visiting Maharaj Sripadi Prabhu's place.
Yeah, they have 20 people from Mangalarti.
Yeah, correct. Sripadi Prabhu is a very, very sincere devotee and very nice. Also, we want to request Maharaj to bless the devotees who may take Bhagavatam sets now. We have multiple languages. You can stand up. This is Venugopal Krishna Prabhu. He is heading our Sankirtan department here, and he can provide you in which all languages?
Telugu, Hindi, English, Marathi, Gujarati. We have
All this.
Kannada also we have.
If this is a golden opportunity for you, Maharaj will give an initial and then give you a blessing. If any of you wish to take. Anybody? Who is that blessed soul who want to take first from Maharaj? Raise your hand, you can come here.
Special discount is also there for Bhadra Purnima, 20% discount on the regular prices. So utilize this facility also. Hare Krishna. She wants only first hand. She wants only first hand.
Swarna Bhakti Swami Maharaj ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Tantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. So, English Bhagavatam set is available at 9,000 rupees. There is discount of around 1,300 rupees. And Telugu Srimad Bhagavatam set is available at 6,500. Okay. Also, we have various books written by Maharaj. Both.
Ram Sharan Prabhu is taking Bhagavatam here announced.
Yeah, His Grace Ram Sharan Prabhu is also taking one Telugu Srimad Bhagavatam set. Haribo. Also, we have various books written by Maharaj, which devotees can, if they want, they can take from the table and get it signed from Maharaj. In Telugu, we have one book called Vrindavana Gramamlu. In English, we have, just hold this. We have book Modernity is Killing Civilization. We have Traditional Education. These are interviews of Maharaj. Then we have this book, My Spiritual Lamentation, about Varnashram system. So these books are available at the table. These are all written by Maharaj. Sushil Chaudhary Prabhu is also taking one English Srimad Bhagavatam. Haribo.